The stars were quiet in the deep black of space. Captain Veltar looked out from the bridge of his ship, the Zethkari, and felt peaceful. His crew had been traveling for months, looking for new worlds and new life. The Valerians were a gentle people who loved to learn about other beings in the galaxy. Dr. Kieran worked at her station, studying the readings from their sensors. She was the best scientist on the ship, always excited to find something new. Her blue skin glowed softly in the dim light of the bridge, and her large eyes never missed a detail. "Captain," she called out, her voice filled with wonder. "I am picking up something strange. It looks like a signal." Veltar walked over to her station. "What kind of signal?" "It is not natural. Someone made this signal. Someone intelligent." Kieran's hands moved quickly over her controls. "The signal is coming from a small system with a yellow star. There is a blue and green planet there." The captain felt his heart beat faster. In all their years of searching, they had never found another thinking species. The Valerians had been alone in their part of the galaxy for so long. "Are you sure?" he asked. "Yes, Captain. The signal has patterns. It is trying to say something. This planet has life that can think and build things." Thexra, the ship's engineer, looked up from his work. "Should we go there, Captain?" Veltar thought for a moment. Finding new intelligent life was the greatest thing that could happen to any Valerian explorer. "Set course for the system," he ordered. "We will make peaceful contact." The Zethkari turned toward the distant yellow star. As they got closer over the next few days, they learned more about the strange planet. The beings, they're called themselves humans. They lived on the third planet from their sun, which they called Earth. Dr. Kieran studied everything she could about the humans. "They are amazing, Captain. They have only been using advanced technology for a short time, but they are learning. So fast, they have already sent small ships to their moon." "What do they look like?" Veltar asked. "They are smaller than us, with only 2 arms and 2 legs. Their skin comes in different colors. They seem to be very active and curious, just like us." The captain smiled. "They sound wonderful. We must help them. We can share our knowledge and guide them to join the peaceful worlds of the galaxy." But as they got closer to Earth, Dr. Kieran noticed something troubling. "Captain, the humans seem to be divided into many different groups. They fight with each other often. Some of their signals talk about wars and weapons." "That is normal for young species," Veltar said. "We Valerians also had conflicts long ago. Once they meet us and see that they are not alone, they will unite and become peaceful." The Zethkari entered Earth's solar system quietly. The ship was designed for research, not fighting. It had strong shields and good sensors, but no weapons. The Valerians had not needed weapons for hundreds of years. "We should announce ourselves," Dr. Kieran suggested. "Send them a message so they know we come in peace." Veltar agreed. They prepared a simple message with pictures and sounds to show they were friendly. The message was sent toward Earth on all frequencies the humans used. On Earth, Air Force pilot Jake Morrison was flying a routine patrol when his radio crackled with strange sounds. At first, he thought it was interference, but then he heard something that made him freeze. The sounds had a pattern, like someone trying to talk. "Control, this is Morrison. I'm picking up some weird signals up here. Copy that, Morrison. We're getting reports from all over. Something big is happening." Within hours, every government on Earth knew about the alien message. Scientists worked to decode it while military leaders prepared for the worst. The message seemed peaceful, but many humans were afraid. Movies and stories had taught them that aliens usually came to Earth to attack. President Harrison called an emergency meeting. General Cole, the head of the military's alien response team, spoke first. "Sir, we have confirmed that there is a large object approaching Earth. It's bigger than anything we've ever built. We don't know what they want, but we need to be ready. Doctor. Lisa Park, one of the scientists trying to decode the message, disagreed. General, the message appears to be friendly. They're showing us pictures of their planet and their people. They seem to want to talk. That could be a trick, Colonel Hayes argued. Maybe they want us to lower our guard. The debate went on for hours, but fear won. When radar showed the alien ship entering Earth's atmosphere, the order was given to defend the planet. Jake Morrison was one of the pilots scrambled to intercept the unknown craft. As he flew toward the massive ship, he felt nervous. The vessel was beautiful, with smooth curves and a soft blue glow. It didn't look like a warship. All units, this is control. The target is not responding to warnings. You are authorized to engage. Jake hesitated. The alien ship was moving slowly and had not fired any weapons, but orders were orders. This is Morrison, beginning attack run. The first missiles hit the Sethkari's shields, which flared bright blue. On the bridge, alarms began to sound. Captain, Thexra shouted. They are attacking us. Veltar couldn't believe it. But we sent them a peaceful message. Why would they attack? The shields are failing, Dr. Kiran called out. We need to retreat. But it was too late. More human fighters arrived, and their weapons were stronger than expected. The Sethkari's research shields couldn't handle a military attack. The ship began to fall toward Earth's surface. Prepare for crash landing, Veltar ordered. He turned to his crew with sad eyes. I am sorry, my friends. We came here to help them, and now we may die for it. The great ship crashed in a remote forest, far from human cities. Captain Veltar was killed in the crash, along with several other crew members. Dr. Kiran and Thexra survived, but they were badly hurt. As human soldiers surrounded the wreckage. Jake Morrison landed his fighter nearby. He walked toward the crashed ship and saw the damage his missiles had caused. For the first time, he wondered if they had made a terrible mistake. Inside the wreckage, Dr. Kiran held her captain's lifeless hand and wept. The peaceful first contact she had dreamed of had become a nightmare. Now she and the other survivors were trapped on a world that saw them as enemies. The humans had struck first, but they didn't know they had just attacked the only people who could warn them about the real danger coming toward Earth. 3 months had passed since the alien ship crashed on Earth. The wreckage sat in a secret military base deep in the Nevada desert. Scientists worked day and night to understand the strange technology, while the surviving aliens remained locked. In a special prison. Dr. Lisa Park walked down the long white hallway toward the holding cells. She carried her tablet and translation equipment, hoping today would bring a breakthrough. For weeks, she had been trying to talk to the aliens, but the language barrier seemed impossible to break. The 2 survivors looked tired and sad. The female alien, who seemed to be some kind of scientist, spent most of her time staring at the walls. The male alien worked with his hands, building small devices from scraps the guards allowed him to have. Good morning, Dr. Park said softly as she entered. Their cell. The aliens looked up at her with their large, dark eyes. The female alien made a series of clicking sounds and pointed to herself. Then she pointed to Dr. Park and made different sounds. They had been doing this for weeks, slowly building a basic way to communicate. Kiran, the alien said, touching her chest. She had learned to say her name in a way humans could understand. Lisa, Dr. Park replied, pointing to herself. I want to help you, Kiran. I want to understand. Dr. Kiran moved closer to the barrier between them. She picked up a small device she had built and began showing pictures on its screen. The images were simple but clear. They showed her home planet, with beautiful cities and peaceful people. Your world, Dr. Park said, nodding. It looks wonderful. Kieran made more clicking sounds and showed new pictures. These were different. They showed dark ships with sharp edges and red lights. The ships were attacking planets and destroying cities. Dr. Park felt her heart skip a beat. What are these? Kieran struggled with the human words she had learned. Bad ships. Harvak. They worlds. Harvik? Dr. Park repeated the word. Who are the Harvak? The alien engineer, Vexra, joined the conversation. He had learned some human words too. Harvak Empire. They find. New people. Then they attack. Dr. Park felt a chill run down her spine. Are you saying there are other aliens out there? Hostile ones? Kieran nodded sadly. We come warn you. Harvick ships coming here. The translation was slow and difficult, but over the next few hours, the terrible truth became clear. The Valerians had detected Harvick scout ships near Earth's solar system. They had rushed to warn humanity about the coming invasion, but their peaceful first contact had gone horribly wrong. Dr. Park ran from the holding cell to find General Cole. She found him in his office, studying reports about the alien technology. General, you need to hear this, she said breathlessly. The aliens weren't here to attack us. They came to warn us. General Cole looked up from his papers. Warn us about what? There's another alien race called the Harvak. According to our prisoners, there's some kind of empire that conquers other worlds, and they're coming here. The general frowned. Dr. Park, these aliens could be lying. They might be trying to trick us into trusting them. Sir, I don't think. They're lying. The fear in their eyes when they talk about the Harvak is real. And why would they make up such a story? Before General Cole could answer, a young officer burst into the room. Sir, we're getting strange readings from our deep space monitors. There are large objects moving toward our solar system. The General and Dr. Park rushed to the monitoring station. On the screens, they could see dozens of massive shapes moving through space. The objects were still far away, but they were clearly heading toward Earth. How big are they? General Cole asked. Each one is at least 10 times larger than our biggest ship, sir. We count at least 30 objects, maybe more. Dr. Park felt sick. General, this proves what the aliens told me. The Harvik are real, and they're coming. General Cole stared at the screen for a long moment. Everything was changing. If the aliens had been telling the truth, then humanity had made a terrible mistake. They had attacked the only people who could help them. Get President Harrison on the line, he ordered, and bring those aliens to the briefing room. We need to talk. An hour. Later, Dr. Kiran and Vexra sat at a table surrounded by Earth's top military leaders and scientists. The translation was still difficult, but the message was becoming clear. Harvak always same way, Kiran explained slowly. They wait ... young species. Make spaceships, then ... attack. How do you know all this? President Harrison asked. Harvik took many worlds. We ... VELARINS ... study them long time. We ... try help new species. General Cole leaned forward. If they're so dangerous, how have you survived? Vexra answered this time. We ... hide. Make ... quiet colonies. But Harvik, getting stronger. Dr. Park had been working on the translation device, and now it was working better. Kiran's voice came through more clearly. My people have been watching the Harvik Empire for generations. They follow a pattern. They let civilizations develop. Until they reach space travel, then they attack. The young civilizations never expect it, and they always lose. Why didn't you fight back? Asked Colonel Hayes. We tried once. Many worlds united against them. But the Harvik are too strong. Their technology is far ahead of ours. We learned to hide instead of fight. President Harrison looked worried. How long do we have? Kiran consulted her damaged equipment. The objects you detected are moving fast. They will be here in less than 3 months. The room fell silent. 3 months to prepare for an alien invasion. General Cole was the first to speak. What do? We know about their weapons and tactics? Much of our data was lost in the crash, Kiran said sadly. But I can tell you what I remember. They use energy weapons that can destroy cities. Their ships have strong shields. They always attack from space first, then send down troops. Dr. Park spoke up. If we release you and your engineer, would you help us prepare? Kiran and Dexra looked at each other. They had every reason to hate humans after what had happened, but they were not a vengeful people. We will help, Kiran said finally. Your people made a mistake, but you are not evil. And if Earth falls to the Harvick, they will be stronger for their next attack on my people. General Cole nodded. Then we need to work together. Can your technology be combined with ours? Some of it, yes. Our shields and communication systems might help your ships. But we must work quickly. As the meeting ended, Jake Morrison was called in. He had been asking questions about the alien attack for months, and now he finally learned the truth. You mean we shot down the good guys? He asked in disbelief. Dr. Park nodded. And now the bad guys are coming, and we only have a few months to get ready. Jake looked at the 2 aliens who had lost their captain and friends because of human fear. I'm sorry, he said to them. We made a mistake. Kiran understood enough human words to know what he meant. We ... forgive. Now we work together. Stop Harvack. Outside, the stars looked different now. Somewhere in that darkness, an empire of conquerors was coming to Earth. Humanity had attacked their only allies. But maybe it wasn't too late to fix that mistake. The real war was about to begin. The Nevada base had become the busiest place on Earth. Scientists and engineers from every country worked side by side with Dr. Kiran and Dexra. The Harvick fleet was getting closer every day, and humanity was running out of time. Carlos Rodriguez wiped sweat from his forehead as he studied the alien technology. He was one of Earth's best engineers, but the Valerian systems were unlike anything he had ever seen. The power sources were incredibly advanced, and the shield generators used principles that human science barely understood. This is amazing, he said to Dexra, who was helping him understand the devices. How do you make energy from nothing? Dexra's translation device had improved, making communication much easier. Not from nothing. We take energy from space itself. Very small amounts everywhere, but we collect much. Dr. Amanda Foster was working on weapons with Dr. Kiran. The Valerian scientist had recovered some data from her damaged equipment, including information about Harvick armor and ships. Their hull metal is very strong, Kiran explained. Normal weapons cannot hurt them, but they have weak spots. Here and here. She pointed to areas on a diagram of a Harvick ship. What kind of weapon would work? Dr. Foster asked. High energy. Focused beam. Like cutting with light, but much stronger. The work was hard and frustrating. Every day brought new problems. Human technology was too different from the Valerian systems. The power requirements were enormous, and many attempts ended in explosions or complete failure. Jake Morrison spent his time learning to fly the new hybrid fighters. The first successful combination of human and Valerian technology was a small spacecraft that used alien shields and human weapons. It was fast and tough, but very difficult to control. It's like trying to ride a wild horse, he told his squadron. The ship wants to do things its way, but we have to make it do what we need. Most pilots crashed during their first attempts. The alien technology responded to thoughts and emotions in ways that human machines never did. Jake was one of the few who could handle it, but even he struggled. The trick is not to fight the ship, he explained to the other pilots. Work with it. The Valerians designed their machines to be partners, not just tools. Meanwhile, political problems were making everything harder. Some world leaders wanted to hide underground and wait for the Harvek to leave. Others thought they should surrender immediately to avoid a fight. Colonel Hayes led the group that wanted to give up. We can't win against an empire that has conquered hundreds of worlds, he argued during a heated meeting. We should save as many people as possible and hope they show mercy. General Cole disagreed strongly. If we don't fight, we'll be slaves forever. At least if we resist, we have a chance. Dr. Park supported the general. The Valerians told us, the Harvek don't show mercy. They either kill or enslave everyone. There's no middle ground. President Harrison had to make the hardest decision in human history. We fight, he said finally. Even if we lose, we'll go down fighting. That's what humans do. The decision to fight changed everything. Resources poured into the project. Every nation contributed their best people and equipment. Old enemies worked together because they all faced the same threat. Dr. Kiran was amazed by human determination. Your people are very brave, she told Dr. Park. Most species give up when they see how strong the Harvek are. Humans don't like to give up, Dr. Park replied. Sometimes it gets us in trouble, but sometimes it saves us. As the weeks passed, trust grew between humans and Valerians. Dexra taught human engineers how to build better engines. Dr. Kiran shared everything she knew about Harvok tactics. In return, humans showed the aliens things they had never seen before. Your people are very creative, Kiran observed as she watched Carlos Rodriguez solve a power problem in a completely new way. You find solutions we never thought of. We have to be creative, Carlos said. We don't have fancy equipment like you do. We have to make things work with whatever we have. The first successful hybrid warship was completed, just as the Harvek scout ships entered the outer solar system. The vessel combined human firepower with Valerian shields and engines. It was small compared to what was coming, but it was a start. Jake Morrison was chosen to test the new ship. As he flew it around Earth's moon, he felt the power of the alien technology. The shields made him feel safe, and the engines responded instantly to his thoughts. For the first time since the crisis began, he felt hope. Control, this is Morrison. The ship is performing beautifully. We might actually have a chance. But the good feelings didn't last long. Earth's deep space monitors detected the main Harvek fleet approaching the outer planets. The images were terrifying. Dozens of massive ships, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. They moved in perfect formation, showing the discipline of an empire that had never been defeated. Admiral Cathvar stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the small blue planet ahead. His sensors showed primitive defenses and a young civilization that had barely reached space. It would be another easy conquest. Prepare the bombardment ships, he ordered his crew. We'll destroy their major cities first, then demand surrender. This should be finished in a few days. But as the Harvek fleet got closer, they began to notice something strange. The humans were not running or hiding. Instead, small ships were moving out to meet them. The vessels were crude, but showed signs of advanced technology that shouldn't exist on such a primitive world. Sir, reported the Harvek sensor operator, the humans appear to be using energy shields. How is that possible? Admiral Keffer frowned. Young civilizations never had shield technology. Something was wrong. Back on Earth, the final preparations were being made. The hybrid fleet was small but growing. Each ship was crewed by humans who had trained with Valerian advisors. The weapons were new and untested. But they were the best hope humanity had. Dr. Kieran stood in the command center, watching the approaching enemy fleet. They will be here in 3 days, she announced. The battle will decide everything. General Cole nodded grimly. Are our people ready? As ready as they can be in such a short time. But General, you must understand something. The Harvek have never lost a battle. They will not expect serious resistance. Good, the general replied. Then we'll have surprise on our side. Jake Morrison and his squadron prepared for the fight of their lives. The hybrid fighters were fast and well armed, but they were still vastly outnumbered. Each pilot knew they might not survive the coming battle. Remember what we learned, Jake told his team. Work with your ships, not against them. Trust the alien technology, but don't forget to think like humans. We're going to show these Harvek what happens when they pick on Earth. As the enemy fleet drew closer, humans and Valerians worked together to make final adjustments to their defenses. The alliance that had begun with a terrible mistake was now their only hope for survival. The greatest battle in human history was about to begin. The Harvek fleet emerged from hyperspace, like a dark cloud blocking out the stars. Admiral Kethvar watched from his command ship as dozens of massive vessels took position around Earth. Each dreadnought was 3 times larger than the biggest. Human warship, bristling with weapons that could destroy entire cities. Begin the standard procedure, the Admiral ordered. Scan their defenses and prepare to demonstrate our power. But as the Harvek sensors swept across Earth's solar system, they detected something unexpected. Small ships were rising from the planet and moving toward them. The vessels had energy signatures that didn't match the primitive technology they had observed earlier. Sir, the sensor operator called out, the humans appear to have shield generators and advanced engines. How did they develop such technology? So quickly? Admiral Kethvar felt the first stirring of concern. In hundreds of conquests, primitive species had never surprised him. It doesn't matter. Destroy the first wave of defenders. That will show them our power. Jake Morrison flew at the head of the human fleet, his heart pounding as he looked at the massive enemy ships. His hybrid fighter felt small and fragile compared to the Harvok dreadnoughts, but the alien technology hummed with power around him. All units, this is Squadron Leader Morrison, he said into his radio. Remember your training. Hit fast, hit hard, and work together. Let's show these bullies what humans can do. The first battle began when the Harvok fired energy beams at the approaching human ships. The massive weapons could vaporize normal spacecraft instantly. But the human Valerian hybrids had something the Harvek didn't expect. Shields, the brilliant blue barriers, absorbed the enemy fire and held strong. Jake's ship shook from the impact, but it kept flying. Around him, other human pilots whooped with excitement as their shields protected them from weapons that should have killed them instantly. Holy cow, the shields work, shouted Lieutenant Sarah Bennett over the radio. I'm still alive. Jake grinned and pushed his ship forward. All right, people. Now it's our turn. Target the weak spots Dr. Kieran showed us. The human fighters dove toward the Harvek dreadnoughts, firing their new energy weapons at specific points on the enemy hulls. The Valerian scientist had identified areas where the armor was thinner, and the human weapons were designed to exploit those weaknesses. Explosions bloomed across the hull of the nearest Harvak ship as the human beams found their targets. Admiral Kethvar watched in shock as his supposedly invincible dreadnought took real damage from primitive attackers. Impossible, he muttered. How are they penetrating our armor? The battle quickly became more intense than anything the Harvak had experienced. Human pilots fought with a fury that surprised everyone, including their Valerian allies. They flew their ships into dangerous positions, took incredible risks, and never backed down, even when facing overwhelming odds. Commander Tony Williams led a group of fighters in a daring attack on the Harvek communication hub. His ship took heavy damage, but he pressed on, following the battle plan that Dr. Kieran had helped develop. "Williams to all units," he called out as enemy fire lit up space around him. "I'm going in on the command ship. Cover me." Sarah Bennett's fighter was badly damaged, with one engine gone and her shields failing. But instead of retreating, she made a decision that would become legend. She aimed her crippled ship directly at the engine core of a Harvek cruiser. "This is for Earth," she shouted as she rammed her fighter into the enemy ship. The explosion destroyed both vessels, but it also created a gap in the Harvek formation. On Earth, people watched the battle on every screen and monitor available. In cities around the world, civilians cheered as they saw their defenders fighting against impossible odds. Dr. Lisa Park stood in the command center with tears in her eyes as she watched human pilots sacrifice themselves to protect their world. "Your people are amazing," Dr. Kieran said softly. "I have never seen such courage." General Cole coordinated the ground defenses as Harvek dropships tried to land on Earth's surface. But the humans were ready for them too. Rosa Martinez had led teams of engineers in building powerful weapons using Valerian technology. When the enemy troops landed, they found themselves facing much stronger resistance than expected. "They're tougher than they look," one Harvek ground commander reported to his ship. "These humans fight like wild animals." A space battle raged for hours. Human ships were destroyed, but they took Harvek vessels with them. Jake Morrison found himself in a deadly dance with enemy fighters, his hybrid ship twisting and turning through space as energy beams flashed around him. The Valerian technology was amazing, but it was the human spirit that made the real difference. Pilots who should have been terrified instead felt excited. Soldiers who should have run instead charged forward. It was exactly the kind of behavior that had made humans successful on their own world. Admiral Cathfer realized his fleet was in real trouble. Several of his dreadnoughts were badly damaged, and his ground forces were being pushed back. This was not how conquests were supposed to go. "Prepare the orbital bombardment weapons," he ordered. "If we cannot defeat them in battle, we will destroy their cities and force them to surrender." But as the Harvek fleet moved into bombardment position, Jake Morrison led his remaining fighters in a desperate final assault. The plan was crazy and dangerous, but it was the only chance they had. "All units, follow me," Jake called out. "We're going straight for the Admiral's flagship. If we can take out their command ship, maybe the rest will retreat." Dr. Kieran had found a weakness in the Harvek command vessel's design. There was a small gap in the shields near the main reactor. It would only be open for a few seconds, and getting to it would be almost impossible. Jake's fighter screamed through space toward the massive flagship, dodging energy beams and missile fire. Behind him, the surviving human pilots followed, even though most of them knew they wouldn't survive the attack. The gap in the shields appeared just as Dr. Kieran had predicted. Jake fired everything his ship had directly into the opening. The energy beam penetrated deep into the Harvek vessel, causing massive explosions throughout its hull. Admiral Cathfer felt his ship shaking apart around him. Emergency alarms screamed as power failed across multiple decks. For the first time in his career, he faced the possibility of defeat. "All ships withdraw to the outer system," he ordered reluctantly. "We need reinforcements." As the Harvek fleet pulled back, humans cheered across the solar system. They had done the impossible. A primitive species had fought an galactic empire to a standstill. But everyone knew this was just the beginning. Jake Morrison's damaged fighter limped back toward Earth. Around him, the space between the planets was filled with debris from both fleets. The first battle was over, but the war was just starting. "Control, this is Morrison," he reported. "The enemy is retreating, but they'll be back with more ships." On his flagship, Admiral Kethfer sent a message toward the Harvick homeworld. The report he had to make was humiliating, but it was also urgent. Earth was not like other worlds they had conquered. The humans had shown they could fight. Now the real test would begin. 3 weeks after the first battle, Earth's deep space monitors detected something incredible. Ships were coming from all directions, but these weren't Harvick vessels. They came from different worlds across the galaxy, and they were all heading toward Earth. Dr. Kieran stood in the command center with tears of joy in her large eyes. "My people are coming," she said, "and they're bringing friends." Captain Zareth of the Valerian Defense Fleet was the first to arrive. Her small battle group included ships from 6 different worlds, all species that had been hiding from the Harvick Empire for generations. "Earth's resistance has inspired the entire galaxy," she told General Cole during their first meeting. For the first time in centuries, people believe the Harvick can be defeated. The alien captain was amazed by what humans had accomplished. "You fought them to a standstill with primitive ships. What you did should have been impossible." Jake Morrison, now promoted to wing commander, helped train pilots from other worlds in the hybrid fighting techniques humans had developed. The alien pilots were skilled, but they had to learn to think differently. "Don't just follow orders," he told a group of Valerian fighter pilots. "When you're in battle, trust your instincts. Take risks. The Harvick expect everyone to be predictable." Meanwhile, Earth's engineers worked with scientists from multiple worlds to build new weapons and ships. The cooperation was amazing. Each species brought different knowledge and abilities to the project. Carlos Rodriguez found himself working with a brilliant engineer from the Zephyrian Collective. "Your people build things to last forever," the alien engineer observed. "Ours are more elegant but fragile. Together, we can make something better than either could alone." But not everyone was happy about Earth becoming the center of galactic resistance. Some military leaders worried about trusting aliens after the disasters. Of first contact, Colonel Hayes remained skeptical. "How do we know these new aliens won't turn on us once the Harvick are gone? We barely understand their motives." Dr. Park, who had become Earth's first alien ambassador, disagreed. "These species have been victims of Harvick oppression for centuries. They want freedom just like we do." The debate ended when the Harvick reinforcement fleet arrived. Admiral Kethvar had returned with twice as many ships and a burning desire for revenge. The message he broadcast to Earth was filled with anger. "Humans of Earth, you have caused great trouble for the Harvick Empire. For this insult, your world will be made an example. Surrender now, and some of you may be allowed to live as slaves." President Harrison's response was broadcast across the galaxy. "Admiral Kethvar, this is the President of Earth. We have one message for you and your empire. Come and take it." The final battle began with the largest fleet action in galactic history. Hundreds of ships from dozens of worlds faced off against the Harvick Armada in the space around Earth. The enemy still had more vessels, but the Alliance fleet was no longer primitive. Jake Morrison led the first attack wave, flying a new fighter that combined technology from 5 different worlds. Around him flew pilots from across the galaxy, all united in their determination to end Harvick tyranny. "All units, this is Morrison. Remember why we're here. We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for every world at once. To be free." The battle was fierce and chaotic. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light as energy weapons lit up the darkness of space. But this time, the Harvick faced opponents who were ready for them. Dr. Kiran coordinated the alliance. Fleet from Earth's command center. Her knowledge of Harvick tactics helped the diverse fleet work together effectively. "Target their command ships first," she advised. "Without coordination, their numbers won't help them." The turning point came when Admiral Kethvar, frustrated by the unexpected resistance, decided to destroy Earth rather than capture it. He ordered his flagship to charge its planet-killing weapon, a massive device that could crack a world in half. "If I cannot have this world, then no one will," he declared. But Jake Morrison and Dr. Kieran had one last desperate plan. Working together, they identified a way to turn the Harvak's own weapon against their fleet. It would require a suicide. Run straight into the heart of the enemy formation. "I can do it," Jake said as he prepared his fighter for the final mission. "The ship's fast enough to get through their defenses." "You won't make it back," Dr. Kieran warned him. Jake smiled. "That's okay. This is what humans do. We protect our friends." The final attack was everything Jake had trained for. His fighter screamed through space, dodging energy beams and missiles, while the entire Harvak fleet tried to stop him. Other alliance. Ships sacrificed themselves to clear his path. At the last second, Jake fired a precisely targeted beam into the Harvak weapon system. The feedback overloaded the entire ship's power grid, causing a massive explosion that destroyed the flagship and several nearby vessels. Admiral Kethver's last words were a mix of surprise and grudging respect. "Impossible. How did they know our weakness?" With their leader dead and their fleet in chaos, the remaining Harvak ships scattered across the galaxy. The empire that had terrorized countless worlds for centuries was finally broken. In the aftermath of victory, representatives from hundreds of worlds came to Earth. They wanted to form a new alliance, one dedicated to protecting young civilizations and preventing another empire like the Harvak from rising. Dr. Park stood before the Galactic Assembly and spoke words that would be remembered forever. "Earth accepts the responsibility of leadership, but only as equals among friends. We will protect those who cannot protect themselves, and we will never allow tyranny to flourish again." The Galactic Protection Alliance was born in Earth's orbit, with humanity as its first commanders. Human ships began patrolling the outer edges of known space, ready to respond to any distress call with the message that had become their motto. Dr. Kieran remained on Earth as the Valerian ambassador and Jake Morrison's closest friend. She often thought about how first contact had gone so wrong, yet led to something so right. "Your people saved the galaxy," she told Dr. Park during one of their evening talks. "No," Dr. Park replied. "We all saved it together. That's what friends do." Years later, when new civilizations reached space and worried about hostile aliens, they would hear the same reassuring message broadcast across the stars. "Sit tight. Humanity's got your six." And in the darkness between worlds, human ships continued their patrol, ready to prove that the universe's youngest species would always stand guard for those who needed protection. The galaxy was finally free, and humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as protectors.